you through to me a second ago.
Sure.
The Georgia Bulldogs have been dominant the last couple of years. They've won the last 2 national championships. Now, prior to 2 years ago, it had been 41 years since they had won a national championship. Borky can correct my math on that if I'm off. I think that's right. I think it had been 41 years. And now they've won back-to-back, so they don't have a 4-decade gap anymore.
No.
They have built an unbelievably talented roster that is too deep, like 4 or 5-star too deep at every position.
A dynasty that could last 1,000 years.
Or not.
Yeah.
But good enough to be in the conversation for another title this year.
Very much a three-peat candidate.
Depending on how quarterback play is, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so someone had opined.
Bud Elliott from CBS Sports, we talked about earlier.
Okay.
I'm ready. Okay.
Yeah, take it from here.
Here's the quote from this tweet. Would Georgia beat an all-star team of Vanderbilt, South Carolina, the Mississippi schools, Missouri, and Arkansas? If not, which teams do you have to cut to say yes? If yes, who else can you add and still say yes? Where's the tipping point?
Forgive me if I think that's a remarkably stupid proposition.
Well, forgive me if it's – I'm sorry. I know you have a character limit on Twitter. It's Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Nobody else is the –
well, no, Arkansas would have a few players. KJ Jefferson is going to be this team's quarterback, I think.
No. It's not the Mississippi schools.
Okay.
They have names, just like Arkansas and LSU and Tennessee.
Okay.
They don't say the Tennessee schools when they're talking about Tennessee and Vanderbilt.
Okay.
You don't say the Kentucky schools or the Commonwealth schools when you're talking about Kentucky and Louisville.
Right.
Call the schools by their names, you lazy piece of... Not you.
Bud Elliott didn't do anything to you. You don't be that harsh on the man. He does have a tweet. He does have a limit of characters. He could have just said,
cut him somewhere else, like with all that wordy crap at the end.
Never mind that. You take out the Mississippi schools, I bet if you put MSU and UM, it's the same.
It's less.
It's less, yeah.
But
anyway, so
Missouri and Vanderbilt.
Yeah. South Carolina, Arkansas.
State Ole Miss. Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
That's
Can you build a team
out
of those 6 that could beat Georgia?
Yes. Ole Miss and Mississippi State combined would line up and play with Georgia. What are we talking about here? I mean, yes, there's a gap between Georgia and each of them individually, but, come on. Come on.
But before being dismissive, let's walk our way through this. Off of those 6 rosters, can you put together a 2-deep that is better than Georgia's 2-deep?
That would beat Georgia? Yes.
I think it's closer than
you would be better at.
Are you 100% sure that you can pull the 4- and 5-star players off of those 6 teams and have more 4- and 5-star players than you got on Georgia?
Yes.
I don't know about that one. Because you've got at least 20 at Georgia. I mean, from a 4- and 5-star,
so this Georgia team, this Georgia team that should have lost, I know should, could have, would have, but they should have lost to Missouri. They beat Missouri on their own.
Lost that game. They played with their food for 4 quarters and then got serious and won.
Then what's the point of the games? What's the point of the games?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, I think that's
you can take
they did win the game, and B. I think
you could take Ole Miss and Mississippi State and compete with Georgia. Just those two, and compete with Georgia and line up and play with and beat Georgia. You could. Would Georgia win too? Probably.
We should put that team together.
It's almost like if there was only one school in Mississippi.
Well, it'd be a good thing.
Glad that 150 years ago there was such a debate about where a law school needed to go and where a medical school needed to go and where a ag school needed to go.
We should do this song right here. There's Bo, there's Luke, and here's Uncle Jesse.
Your Uncle Jesse?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to be Uncle Jesse.
Where is, never mind.
Yeah,
Will is Roscoe P. Coltrane. Okay.
I mean, remember when Georgia played Mississippi State last year?
Yeah.
You're telling me that Mississippi State team, with their choice of Ole Miss's best players, that's what we're talking about here.
Well, I mean,
Mississippi State gave Georgia fits for a half, and then Georgia came.
The problem is this for that scenario is State's problem is obviously I can get a couple offensive guys, but I need more defensive guys, and Ole Miss doesn't really have those.
They had a handful last year that would have helped.
I don't think that State wins that game.
Troy Brown certainly would have helped that team.
Would have helped.
Cedric Johnson.
Cedric Johnson would have helped. DeAndre Prince would have helped.
So, what position does the first guy?
Troy Brown, linebacker.
So, I mean, is he over Watson or Johnson? Or at least he's just in the – I guess he's in the mix.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know.
I mean, if you put him into the mix, a rotation where you like what you're getting from all three of them, that you can limit the snaps, you're fresher, you're deeper. That's the thing with Georgia
too, so
is there's so many guys that they can
the next guy is still a 4-star, 5-star guy.
And then you put Judkins on that team, and then, sorry, State fans, you put Jackson Dart on that team.
Well, never mind. And who's coaching? Because if it's Leach, we might have Judkins not getting the ball.
I don't know that putting Malik Heath on that team helps.
We've already tried that. It didn't work.
Seen that, at least not with that scheme.
But, you give me Mingo, Tulu Griffin, and Ra Thomas. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
With who calling plays?
Lane.
I mean, because I got to run the ball. I mean, if I've got Judkins, I have to run the football.
With Judkins in
and
the backfield.
Arnett's running the defense.
And also Zach Evans.
Yeah, Evans.
I mean, you'd have three running backs.
And Dylan Johnson and Marks were good running backs. I mean, they can give you something. I've got some guys there for sure. Am I good enough on the offensive line?
With the combination, that may be where Georgia would have an advantage regardless.
Yeah, either side. Maybe now if I'm going to go back a couple of years, I can get Charles Cross back in the mix. I'm feeling a little better, but
yeah. Well, and then you think about the other pieces in there. I mean, didn't South Carolina have a really good tight end?
They did.
Yeah.
Underused.
Yeah. I mean, Mississippi State can't contribute a tight end to that conversation.
No.
Ole Miss last year, frankly, can't contribute a tight end to the conversation.
And in reality, if we're doing the whole thing, the backfield is probably K.J. Jefferson at quarterback with Rocket Sanders and Quinshon Judkins. Now I've got something there.
Yeah.
I just kind of block for them.
Surely you can pull 10 offensive linemen off those 6 teams that you feel good
I need 7. I can get through the game with 7.
Yeah, but
the other 3 are on the team.
I'm going too deep, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, though, like, the starting 5 are going to play a lot.
And listen to who you're factoring in here. I mean, this is a South Carolina team that beat up Tennessee and beat Clemson.
Now I've got Juice Wells. I got Marshawn Lloyd. I got weapons. But we say all that. Georgia has weapons. They have as many weapons as we're going to have.
Even if you put together from all of those rosters, all you have done is leveled the playing field with Georgia. You haven't.
I'm just saying it's closer than anything.
You don't have a roster that is now more talented than Georgia. You have a roster that is equal to Georgia.
Team do we have to add to beat Georgia? I mean, obviously one of the elite teams. We could add LSU would be in really great shape. But I mean, if we add Kentucky.
It's funny you said that. I was actually going to say Kentucky because I'm thinking you had Braylon Brown.
Mm-hmm. We'll get some defensive guys in there. I might let Stoops coach at this point.
Yeah, I don't know that there was a lot off that Kentucky defense.
That's a Kentucky team that should have beat Georgia too. Georgia beat them by a touchdown.
Is Levis over Jefferson?
How many of these Georgia games are we just going to dismiss? No, he's not.
Okay.
But how many of these Georgia games are we just going to dismiss? They played Missouri really close. But yeah. Oh, well, they played Mississippi State. Yeah. Oh, they played Kentucky close.
Hold on a second, though. Hold on. They're 29-1 in their last 30 games.
We're talking about
they got bored.
They got bored.
Stepped on the gas when
they
bored
against
to.
Ohio State. The same Ohio State that got absolutely
good.
Ohio
They
State
are
has
good.
talent, though.
But is Ohio State more talented than 6 SEC teams? That's what we're talking about. 6
maybe
SEC teams.
I mean,
6.
Maybe.
No.
I mean,
no shot.
They have the number. They have a guy who's going to be a top 5
going
pick
into last year. You
said
said that Ohio State had a legitimate chance to be the national champion,
and they did.
Yeah, they did.
But now you're arguing that there are 6 SEC teams.
Well, I get that.
No, I'm saying there are 6 SEC teams. Ohio State is not better than 6 combined SEC teams.
Oh, no.
Of course.
But
they had a field goal to beat Georgia. I don't think they were bored in the playoff.
Like 5-6 first-rounders on offense and probably another 3 or 4 defense. Do I have that with this SEC team? Because right now,
did you watch the national championship game?
I watched the semifinal game where Ohio State had a kick to win minus their 3 best players. 6
combined SEC teams would beat TCU.
Yeah.
State and Ole Miss combined would beat TCU. Hell, Ole Miss or State might just beat TCU.
By the way, I think the 6 beats Georgia, but I say I think they beat. Again, I go back to if you build an all-star roster, out of 2 teams from the SEC, out of 6 teams from the SEC. I think what you have done is you have created a roster that is level with Georgia.
It could win the game.
And then you just got to play the game and see who wins it.
But I don't think it's as Bud Elliott is like adamant that like no, they would not win. Georgia would still win the game.
Well, maybe
Borky is
not.
adamant that the SEC All-Star team would win.
Yes.
I'm in the middle here, like it could go either way.
See, and I don't know the outcome of the game. All I know is that off of 6 teams or 2 teams or whatever the number is, I don't think it's 2. I think it's at least 3. But if you take those 6, you can build a roster that is equal to Georgia's roster.
Yeah, I mean 16.
I don't think it's better necessarily than Georgia's roster.
I need the top 12 to 13 guys off each roster.
And yeah, then you can build a roster that is
It's
competitive with Georgia's roster.
Yeah.
But then you got to play the game.
Yeah.
And Georgia's proven to be pretty good in big moments in big games over the last 2 seasons.
They have.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd watch.
Pull it all together and call them Ole Miss, and it'd be great. I am for this idea. Yes.
Well, you had me up until the end.
Right up until the end. C-Spire text line open to you at 601-879-4395. We are broadcasting today, talking some college football from Davini Equipment
Now, this is correct.
in Madison.
This is correct.
Highway 51.
Well, not if you combine the 2014 State and Ole Miss teams, they'd smoke Georgia.
Yeah. Almost had the number 1 defense in the country.
Yeah, and State has Dak and plenty of offensive weapons, and then I'm going to add some Ole Miss guys to that offense, and I'm going to add some State guys. I'm going to add Benardrick McKinney.
Is Dak the quarterback?
Over Bo Wallace? Yeah.
Wasn't Moncrief on that team?
No, but
No, he was 12.
Treadwell
That's
is.
right. Treadwell's on that team.
I've got. Okay, I could probably do it in my head. I mean, I'm left tackle is Tunsil now blocking for Dak, so I'm not worried about anything over there. And I mean, your receivers are Treadwell, tight ends Evan Ingram, and I've got Derunya Wilson and Fred Ross.
Those 2 teams would beat Georgia by 4 touchdowns.
They would win pretty big. They would
Cody
win pretty
Core, who played in the NFL, was on that team.
big. Yeah, he's like the 5th receiver on that team.
C.J. Moore, who's still in the NFL, was on that team.
I mean, defensively, you got all the Ole Miss guys, and then, like I said, I'm going to add Benardrick McKinney and Chris Jones. And, I mean,
How's that defensive
I feel
line?
pretty good about. They're going to be salty, man. I feel pretty good about that group.
All right, so if you took 2014 Mississippi State, 2015 Ole Miss, who's the quarterback?
It's a lot closer. It might be Chad. I mean, I hate to say that, but Chad Kelly that year was fantastic. Dak was really, really good too. I mean, it's a coin flip.
When Chad finished that season, he had the 3rd best statistical season in the history of SEC football.
Trailing 2 seasons by Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Yep, that was it.